Okay, so paintbrushes come in basically two different types. The first is a natural bristle brush. Natural bristle brushes mean that it's actually animal hair. It's meant for oil-based paints and varnishes, okay? If you were to use a water-based product with this, the water would soak up and the bristles would swell on you, and then the brush would wind up going limp. So you really only want to use something like a Chinese bristle brush with oil-based paints. The other type are what are called nylon or nylon polyester blends. This is a man-made product, but these are really great all-around brushes. You can use this one for oil-based and water. I use it for both. If you're trying to get a really smooth surface, you might want to go with a natural bristle brush for an oil-based product because it's probably going to lay it down a little bit better than the synthetic blends. But these are great brushes. So to look for a sign of quality, one is to take the brush out of its packaging. Okay, you'll notice I have a Purdy XL Dale. This is my favorite brush by far. And you want to run your hands over the top of it. It should feel nice and smooth. It shouldn't be too stiff. You'll notice that if I were to compare it to this and I run my hand over this, it doesn't feel nearly as smooth, and it's really stiff, which I don't like. Also, this metal part here is called a ferrule, and you'll notice that the ferrule here has been, so it's been put on the handle, but it's been stamped, okay, to hold it to the handle, whereas my Purdy has been riveted in, which is a sign of quality, right? There are more bristles in this. I cannot see down into the brush. I know that there's lots of bristles here, whereas if I do that with this brush, I can see down into, there's a piece of wood down here in the middle that I can see. Because of the way this feels in my hand, I know that it's going to apply it in a smoother finish than this will. This is just too stiff and doesn't feel the same to me. You want to make sure that you buy a quality brush. It really makes a lot of difference, okay? Now, the brushes that I use the Purdy XL Dale. All right, it's an angled, what they call a sash brush. It's 2.5 inches. I love the size of it. This is a 3-inch. I think it's just a little too big, and the 4 inches are just too big. And then you could do a 2-inch, but this is just a little too small. So this is, I found to be like the perfect size. I love that it's angled so that I can cut into corners and I can cut into window edges. You can't do that as well with one of these flatter brushes. I use 3 different types of brushes, and that's it. I use the Purdy XL Dale 2.5-inch angled brush. I love this brush. It's one of my favorites. I use this for about 99% of my work. I use artist brush every once in a while to get it into really, really tight corners. And then the only other brush I use are foam brushes. And I use these to apply, let's say I've got an ink spot on the wall, indelible ink, and I need to put a stain blocking primer on it. I'll just use one of these really quickly and then let it dry out and just simply toss it. You could buy an inexpensive chip brush to do the same thing, but be careful, these bristles easily fall out of this brush because it's so inexpensive, okay?